a concept that I think is going to serve you, not just today, not just in your pageant land, your pageant experience, but in your life. And this is a lesson that I learned from my dad. I share a lot about my dad because my dad had all these like hilarious sayings growing up. He would say funny things. And often he would even say like famous quotes. Like one of my favorites is "a stitch in time saves nine." And like to this day, I think that like if I just take care of this one little thing, just do it right now, so that it just then it's going to save me that time. Or you can't get ahead by putting maintenance behind. He would tell me that when I would not want to be like changing the oil in my car or like taking my car in for the 90,000 mile checkup or whatever. I'm like, it's running fine. And dad would be like, you're never going to get ahead by putting maintenance behind. I'm like, that's so true. So I want to share with you today one of the things that he shared with me that is something I've carried with me to this day that has made a huge, huge difference. And I recently read about this actually this was probably like a year or two ago is when I first read this book called The Big Magic. And big magic is this concept that it sort of makes a cartoon image of what the universe is doing and how God's working. And in the Bible, it talks about that God is looking to and fro for somebody that will do the work. And if he doesn't find anybody, he's moving on to the next guy, right? That's kind of what this is a great book. I actually do really recommend it for my creatives out there. If you consider yourself to be a creative, then I would love for you to take a look at this book. It talks about the idea that this concept that in the world, ideas will come around, opportunities will come by. And the visual is that they come knocking on your door. And it will knock on your door for a little while. But if you do not answer, it disappears and it goes and knocks on somebody else's door. And you may have heard of this concept before. You probably have felt this before when you're like, I have this great idea. And then you don't take action on it. And then years go by and somebody else has already created the thing. This happened to a friend of mine. She was like, you know what would be awesome is that this was years ago now, like 7 years ago. She was like, you know what there needs to be in the world? There needs to be like this company where you could get on an app and you could have somebody come to your home and do stretching for you and like help you stretch, but at your home. And you could like, reserve them and be like, okay, I'm going to have this person come to my home, boom, just like that, and they would come to your home, they would bring all the things and they would be able to stretch you. 3 years later, the app came out for that very thing, and she's like, I missed the opportunity. The opportunity knocked on her door and then it passed her by. And in our life, this is going to happen to you. Some of the opportunities you are going to answer and you're going to realize, oh my gosh, if I did not say yes to this opportunity, I can't even imagine where I would be. And other times you're going to have opportunities knock and you're going to have all the voices in your head tell me, I can't answer the door. I can't answer the door because I'm not good enough. I can't answer the door because I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I can't answer the door because I'm not ready. I can't answer the door because is that door knock even for me? I can't answer the door because what if that does actually happen for me? What if I become a wild success in that area? All of my family will disown me. They'll think that I shouldn't be doing this wild thing anyway. What will even people say about me? I can't answer the door. And so the idea, the opportunity moves on to somebody else. And then you think that could have been my opportunity. That was meant for me, that I was supposed to be the one that would seize this moment. This happened to me when this was probably a few years ago now. I was in the grocery store and I know for a fact that the Holy Spirit told me, Alycia, I want you to pay for the groceries of the person in line in front of you. I know for a fact that's what he said. But it was at a time in my life where I was just getting off the ground. I was new to Los Angeles. I was trying to figure life out. I was starting a new business, doing business consultations at that time. And I was like, surely that was not meant for me. Surely he's not telling me to do that. And I knew he did. I knew that that's what he was telling me to do because my heart was racing. All the things were happening. You've been there before, right? Where you've had an opportunity and you're like, oh, it's meant for me. It's supposed to be me. And then maybe you did what I did, which was I let it go. I reasoned it away. I was like, this is a person who I didn't feel connected. It wasn't like they were like a person who was like me. And so I didn't feel like it would, like, what would they, it was a man. And I was like, if I tell this man I'm buying his groceries, he's going to be like, this girl's buying my groceries. I don't think so. That's what I thought would happen. Now, of course, we all know that that wasn't going to be what was going to happen because it was God telling me that was what I needed to do. And there was a reason for it, but I didn't do it. I didn't do it. And the guy paid for his own groceries and he walked away. And all the feeling in me settled. My heart stopped racing. But what was replaced with it was regret of what could I have done if I would have just said, hey, tonight I'm paying for your groceries? What would that have meant for that person? What change, what ripple effect would that have had if I would have just said yes to the opportunity that God was telling me to do? Now, that regret quickly diminished because God reminded me, I'm the God of second chances. I will come around again. And he has since then. And there was an opportunity where, and I know he was doing this because God gives seed to the sower. He's going to give you seed, an opportunity, only if you're the type of person that says yes to opportunities. Because if you are the type of person that chronically says no to opportunities, then you aren't going to have new opportunities knocking on your door because God only gives seed to the sower. And he's going to be like, clearly I can't trust you because you never say yes to anything. So he could not trust me on that guy's big order because I got scared. He couldn't trust me in that, but he's the God of second chances. Years later, I was in the same grocery store and every time since then that I was in a grocery store, I was listening for the voice of God because I was like, he's going to tell it to me again. He's going to tell it to me again. I was in the exact same grocery store, probably in a different line. And this time there was an older woman who was in front of me and all she was buying was a small pint of ice cream. That's the only thing that she was buying. And God said to me, she was in front of me in the grocery store. And God said to me, buy this woman's ice cream. And this time with the heart beating and all the things, I was like, yes, I will. And so I said to the cashier, I said, I put hers on my order. And then I said to her, you don't have to pay for that. Go enjoy your day. And she looked at me and was like, oh, I will. Thank you. And she just skippity-doo-dah off and had a great day, I'm sure. Now, I do not have a clue what her experience was. She probably thought that was sweet, the $3 ice cream, or I don't know, $1.50 ice cream. I don't even know how much it was, but I felt restored. You know, I felt like God can trust me again. He can, now I'm ready for bigger seed because he can trust me again. I took that opportunity. It was a small opportunity. It was like, he was like, okay, well, clearly you don't listen to me when I ask you to do the big stuff. So I'm going to give you something small to handle here. And when he did, I obeyed. And in that obedience, I felt great. I have still no idea what the ripple effect is, but I wanted to remind you that you might not know what the ripple effect is of your obedience to the call on your life. And it's likely that you are going to be called to something big and scary because we don't usually get called to the things that are like easy. You just do the things that are easy. You don't really need the voice of God to like tell you this is for you. You don't need multiple signs. You don't need multiple resources pulling you toward the thing that you know is wrong, because the easy stuff for you, you just do because it's easy. You need all of that reinforcement, all of that call, all of that pull, so that you know you won't be able to do it alone, and that you in fact actually do need God's support as you go through this process. You need to say yes to the opportunity, but you're not just saying yes to the opportunity, you're saying yes in obedience to God. And he's going to provide the resources that you need for all of the, all of the desires of your heart. He's going to give you what you need. It's not going to fall like a fairy dust out of the sky. You're going to have to do the work, and you're going to hear from some girls in a few moments right now who've done the work. You're going to have to do the work. I want to share with you now the story of my dad. I wish I would have learned this lesson way back then, but it took me all of those many other lessons to learn this. But my dad, my earthly father, taught this to me when I was a senior in high school. And my local community college was doing a talent show. And I loved to dance. So I'm like, I'm going to sign for the talent show. So my friend and I, who at the time, we were hip hop dance instructors. Let me say that again, just because it sounds cool. I was a hip hop dance instructor with my friend Kaylee. And we got so good. We were teaching classes every Saturday morning. And so every Saturday morning, we were coming up with a new series that we were teaching our students in the class. And we would give it a name based on whatever the thing was that we were dancing to. So we'd be like, oh, do the Britney Pop song. Okay, Britney Pop. And we would remember all the moves, and we'd have the whole thing down, and we could do it perfectly in sync, and we got it down. But she and I were going to do a specific choreographed routine for the talent show. So we do the dance in the talent show. And it was we were the only like kids doing this. We were probably like 17 years old. She was even younger than I was. And it was all with college kids. We didn't really, it was in the newspaper. We thought anyone could do it. We didn't really realize it would be mostly the kids at the college that would be doing the performances, you know? So whatever, we show up, we've got like, unbridled confidence, and we did our piece. It was so fun. We had a blast. We actually performed really, really well for the audience. Like the whole audience was like into it with us and like having a blast. We had our cute little outfits on because we were, in productions and stuff. So we had all of our like real costumes and, so after our performance, we came back into the audience to sit and continue watching the other performers. And I was sitting next to Kaylee, and then my mom was on the other side, and my dad was sitting on this side of me as we were watching the performance. Okay, so one of the performers, and I wish that I could remember the visual that I was seeing, but I don't remember what I was seeing because it was so visceral in my body, what I was feeling. What I remember was that there was a scrawny kid on stage who looked like he probably didn't have a cheering crew in the audience. And and I can't remember what instrument he was playing, but it was like something like, let's just say the flute or something. Okay. Like it was not like a bass guitar. Okay. It was not an electric. I can't remember what it was, but it was a little like lame. Okay. And he was starting to perform, and it had a rhythm. It had a beat, and you could tell he was good at doing the instrument I can't even remember what it was that he was playing. You could tell he was good at that, but it really was not much of a crowd pleaser. And, maybe the talent was going to be, 3 minutes long or something like that. And my dad, very quickly into the performance, nudged me and said, you and Kaylee need to get up there and save this guy's act. And you hear my voice is shaking because I remember it in my body so clearly. What I was feeling was anxious. He was right. He was right. He was like, you guys need to get up there and you need to save this guy's act. Like, and we could have, like, I was like, in my head, I'm thinking like, we totally could do that. Like she and I could just call out dance. We could have done the dance we just did to this guy's music, no problem. And it would have been great, because then I'm thinking like, wow, that actually would be kind of cool. Like if we just hopped up on stage and we were like, making him look cool and, getting the crowd back into it. Like we could be his hype girls, and like make him feel like, and really have some fun. But all of that zipped through my head. But really what was happening was my heart is beating. I'm like instantly like, what? Like, what? So I ignored him. I was like, shh, like a 17-year-old kid would. So then a few more seconds go by, and my dad said louder so that Kaylee would hear it. He's like, you guys need to get up there and save this guy's act. And I was like, Dad, stop it. And I remember purposefully not acknowledging Kaylee in this moment because I was so scared that if I looked at her, that she'd be like, let's go do And I'd be like, no, I'm too scared, because I was scared, because what if he would have been like, well, what are these two girls? What if it would have thrown him off? Or what if people would have been like, oh, they have to lose the talent show now. They're disqualified because, and also this guy's disqualified now because you're not allowed to be in their act. And, and it just, what if people started booing us? Or what if we actually couldn't remember any of our dances? Or what if it threw him off so much that all of a sudden he started playing? What if it went wrong? And all of those things were going through me as my heart was beating, as I was feeling the pull that I should have accepted. And instead, as the act continued to end, my dad leaned over to me, and a third time he said, you guys better get up there. The opportunity is going to pass. And I sat there still. I could cry right now, because I think now, with the new perspective that I have a completely different vision of this. At that time, I sat there still. I didn't acknowledge Kaylee. I kept shushing my dad, the voice that was telling me to do the thing I needed to do. And instead, I ignored it. And his act ended, and everyone gave a polite little golf clap, because the poor guy. And that was the end of it. And the opportunity passed, and the feeling of the heart beating and all the things faded, and it was replaced with regret. And that regret is what I'm feeling now, that you're seeing in the tears and in all of this, because I know that that's not the only opportunity in my life that I let pass me by. And that feeling of, oh my gosh, it's knocking on my door. The opportunity is here. That feeling is a feeling that you need to get comfortable with if you're going to make a difference in the world. And what happened was all the fear of, well, what if it could go wrong? Now I have a vision of, but what if it could have gone right? What if we would have skippity-doo-dah up there, and he would have all of a sudden had a whole new confidence that he probably has when he practices in his mom's basement, when he's like, toodly-doo-doo, and all of a sudden it brought him to life. And what if a few of the other dancers from the crowd also came up and also started dancing? And what if the whole crowd was like, oh yeah. And what if that guy would have won the talent show as a result of it? And then what if the next morning on campus, all the kids would have been like, Zach, what's up, buddy? Like if all of a sudden he would have been. But that didn't happen, because I just was like, shh, Dad, stop. I silenced the voice, and I did not recruit the people that could have helped me make it happen. And instead, I silenced the voice. And I want you to know today that there are opportunities that are going to come to you, and you will have a choice. And you will feel all the pitter patters, and you will feel the voice, whether it's audible like my earthly father, or maybe it just as your heavenly father telling you, hey, this is the thing that you need to do. I want you to know that that opportunity is knocking on your door, and you have a choice to answer the door. And instead of ignoring the door, which would make, if you do ignore the door, that's your other choice. The pitter patter will fade, but it likely will be replaced with a feeling of regret. Or you answer the call, and that pitter-patter feeling is going to be filled instead with a sense of accomplishment, with the visual of the actual ripple effect of what is taking place before you. That is the difference when you answer the call that's on your life, or when you let it fade.